Is there something you know you need to do? You're avoiding doing it? If you're in that boat, then let me share with you some lessons I learned when I was growing up about how to do things you don't want to do. Sometimes when we're growing up, we get false ideas in our mind. One of those ideas that I got when I was growing up was that the only way to succeed in adulthood was to work all the time and never have any fun. With that kind of a thought in your mind, it's not hard to understand why you're not excited about adulthood. There's actually lots of fun in between the work. But there is work involved in being an adult, at least if you want to succeed. It might be that this idea came from watching my mom, who worked very hard while she was raising 5 kids by herself, or some of my older siblings. One of my older brothers got a job working in a dairy. He was moving gallons of milk all day long. Came home one day and he said, "Man, I worked so hard, my poop had muscles." I recognized from him that he was working hard, not just for a half an hour or an hour, but all day long. It is true that as you grow into adulthood, you're going to have to do things you don't want to do. That's a mark of manhood. That's kind of a rite of passage for becoming a man. But it doesn't mean you have to do that all the time. Here's a more accurate idea that will help you make your transition into adulthood a little bit easier. It is true that you do have to work. But you don't have to work all the time. And there's a lot of fun and fulfillment that can come in between those periods of work. When I was 15, a guy in my neighborhood came up to me and he said, "Hey, my boss is looking for someone to come help." He worked in an automotive shop. I really didn't want to give up my summers, but I was too timid or too embarrassed, or perhaps knew well enough that the right thing to do was to take the opportunity. So I went down to where he worked. It was supposed to be for like 3 days with different odds and ends around the shop that they wanted me to do. Well, the next day I'm there doing some odd jobs around the shop. I was up on the roof working on the air conditioners, and my friend comes out from the shop and shouts up to me, "Hey Jimmy, good news, the boss wants to make this a permanent part-time job for you." And I thought, oh crap, this was only supposed to be 3 days. I wasn't sure I wanted to keep doing it. I ended up working there for 4 years, full-time during the summer, part-time during the school year. You might be faced with something you know you need to do, but you're avoiding it. What do you do if you're in that boat? Let me give you some strategies that might help you get over that hurdle. When my kids were older, one of my sons started running. Got to where he was running consistently and regularly. One day he says, "Dad, you should come running with me." What a great idea. I didn't run before then, so I thought, well, what the heck, I'll try it. So I went with him, and we got out on the road, and we start with a walk. The app beeps, and we're supposed to start running. It doesn't take very long before I'm winded, and I feel like I need to stop. Finally, I swallow my pride and say, "Hey, Wes, I need to walk." And he said, "Okay, we can walk." So we walked a little ways, and then I caught my breath and we ran another distance. But we ran a little ways and then we walked again and ran a little ways and walked again. But I kept running with him and then started running on my own. I'd run for a little ways and I'd get winded. And I'd think, I want to stop, but I want to keep going. I'd pick a car that was out on the street. I'll run to that one and then I'll walk. And I would use that as my landmark. When I got there, I'd allow myself to walk, catch my breath, and then start running again. When it felt like I needed to stop, I'd pick some landmark up in the distance and say, I'm going to run to there, and then I'll let myself walk a little ways. And so by doing that, I learned to run a little bit further than I would have liked to have, until eventually I can run the whole 5K without taking a break. You can use that same principle to start doing those hard things that you know you should do, but that you don't want to and that you're avoiding. Tell yourself, I'm just going to work on it for 15 minutes and then I'll take a break. And then dig into it for 15 minutes, maybe half an hour. After you've done it for half an hour, you're going to notice some things. One is that it didn't kill you. Another thing is that it's going to feel good to you because you realize you're doing that thing that you know you should have been doing and you've been putting it off. That feeling is going to be really good. In fact, that feeling is going to be your best friend. If you've been putting off doing things that you know you should do but you don't want to do, make the decision now. Block off a half an hour. Spend that time working on that thing that you don't want to do. You're going to have a feeling of, holy cow, I'm so glad I'm getting this done. And that feeling is going to help motivate you to be able to do the next hard thing and the next hard thing. But don't think you have to live life going from hard thing to hard thing to hard thing, because there's a lot of time in between that, and that's where you can still have your fun and enjoyment. If you're facing something difficult that you've been avoiding, put it in the comments, tell me what it is there. I want you to know you got a dad that cares about you and wants to see you succeed, and I'm rooting for you. And I will see you on the next video.